All right. I'd like to introduce Carmen Guidi, who heads up or is the founder of Second Wind Cottages. This organization came to my attention a number of years ago, just driving out of town. There's this lineup of small, very good-looking buildings up on a hill as you head out of town on your way to Corning. And I passed it enough times that I like, what is this? And making inquiries, I found that this is the home base of Second Wind Cottages, one of the most unique solutions to homelessness I've seen, and also quite stylish with the little home movement going full bore. So Carmine was on the cutting edge of that particular trend. So the way we're going to structure this today is Ken has asked us, Carmine has asked us to put up a video. It's about 8 minutes long, which gives an excellent introduction to their program. And then from there, he will take it over after the video. Ken, why don't you go ahead and take it from here?
All righty. Let me get Carmine spotlighted here. We'll play spotlight. Okay, now I'm going to try to find the video and share it here. Okay, let's give it a shot.
Yes, is really where it started. A couple of friends of mine asked me if I'd be interested in going to Haiti to help them build an orphanage, and so I think it's partly a God story, opening up my heart to the possibility of helping others, and that trip really, really changed my perspective. So I got home, and the Red Cross was running the emergency shelter at the time, and they said, you can come do a meal on a Saturday for the homeless people, and I say, yeah, right, homeless people, right, in Ithaca. I would start the conversation with people as they came through the line, and I remember this one gentleman, I asked, so where do you live? And he said, well, right now I'm under the Cuga Street Bridge. It just hit me. That really hit me hard. It's like right here in Ithaca, people are living outdoors without shelter. I mean, and this was February, so it's cold here. And then I'd learned more about homeless people, and then I learned about the jungle and homeless encampments. So I started to visit and just really bring in things that could help them, water, blankets, food sometimes, things like that. Spend 2 or 3 days a week down there, and really got to know them.
I met Carmen 7, 8 years ago. He'd come down to the Friendship Center, and they would have dinner for all of us, and he'd come down to the jungle and bring propane, and he helped us out a great deal.
One of my friends in the jungle kept asking me for help, more than just water and blankets and batteries for his lantern, but for help getting out of homelessness, getting out of his addiction. He did not want to be in that place anymore. And he had burned all his bridges. Social services wouldn't help him, and there was no vehicle or avenue for him to get out of where he was. He was stuck, badly stuck, and he was crying that day, just desperately wanting to get help. He hung himself while I was gone. And it's been a while, but it's still, it was a hard thing because he was asking me for help and I didn't know what to do. And so after a couple days of feeling sorry for myself, I said that's it, no more. And as guys wanted help, I hooked up with the rescue mission in Syracuse. I begged them to come down and help me, teach me anything I needed to know to get guys into rehab, get guys into housing, whatever the case may be. But then there came a point where there was a group of them that just could not get housed. There was money for that. I could get them on Section 8. I could get them, assistance money-wise, but no landlords would take them because of their history, right? They had burnt bridges and they had bad history, and they came to a point in their lives where they wanted better for themselves, but there was no vehicle. So I started by campers, And this was littered with campers for a while because it was quick. You know, these people were dying, literally dying outside. The campers were a quick, easy solution, but I knew it wasn't practically a long-term solution. But so I got the idea of just building little houses.
There's no single way to categorize homelessness. You know, the majority, the last survey says that 69% of the people who are in homelessness have outgrown their family's ability to take care of them. They've been thrown out by their family, sometimes for good reason. You know, but they've, in any case, exceeded their family's ability to take care of them. Whether they have big issues with substance abuse or psych issues, or whether their family just is, you know, kind of in a rough spot to begin with and doesn't need their added roughness. Those folks are in some ways dealing with a lot of baggage. And so we have to help them overcome that and feel connected and get connected to the services they need to be good and productive citizens and be able to help others with their gifts.
Probably down there for 20 years. I enjoyed my privacy, but it was more, I didn't want people telling me how to live my life. You know, in order to get DSS help, they want you to jump through hoops and everything else. You know, I'm not a, you know, wild animal at a circus or something. You know, I was trained to jump through hoops. You know, I served our country, and you know, I don't want people telling me how I should live my life.
Some of them really just don't want to come out of there. They just don't want anybody to tell them what to do. You know, and some people are in there because they screwed up and they want out, but they just don't know how to do it yet. That's where people like around the staff around here comes in, and they help them. I don't know, I guess it started when I was really young. I started doing drugs. I'm 53 now. I stopped like 3 years ago. Yeah, I did 8 months, I think, around 8 months, maybe 9, in jail. You know, and I got 5 years probation. I owe $100,000. I couldn't even get into the shelter. They turned me away. They said I wasn't qualified to go into the shelter. I was like, I don't have any money, I don't have nothing, you know. They said I couldn't get in.
The shelter is just a really, really rough way to live. Everything from addictions to mental illness, all in the same room together. This type of housing creates an atmosphere where they have a little bit more dignity, I think, more privacy. What I found was there were so many barriers to getting housed. We can move someone right off the street in the next day without a penny to their name. We're always looking for monetary donations, obviously. That's not our biggest pitch. We need people to engage. That's the biggest need, because we can build 100 of these houses, right, and put people in houses, but until they connect with another human being, it's all for nothing. Can you come and help with rides? We have people that need rides. Take them to a doctor's appointment. Get to know them. Get to know their stories. Connect with them. That's what makes the difference in their lives.
In some cases, some of us would rather be homeless than be in the system. People are embarrassed. We were taught never to take money, you know, free money like that. You know, even though it's there. And that just means that you're a little lower if you go and take it. I don't know how much lower we can be, but, you know, that's just the pride thing. And pride is real. It's a real big driver.
You know, when you're living in a tent with no food, no water, no electricity, you're invisible. You're not part of it. And here they're part of something. You feel like they're a part of something. You know, when the volunteers come to work, they work with them, and they feel like they have worth. We all want to feel like we have worth, that we're needed, that we're wanted, right? I mean, we were made for community, and this really helps build that back into them. And they've got dreams, and there's hope in their lives now. It gives them a new life.
Over to you, man. Carmine?
So
Okay.
mute.
Okay, need to unmute, sir.
Yep, got it. Got it.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I get my big picture off? Who can do that for me? Oh, I did it. Okay. So, hey guys, so is it my turn?
Yep.
Am I on? All right.
Yes.
So guys, I'm kind of really, I struggled technically. So I tried to get my computer up and running so I could see everyone at the same time, but I'm on my phone, and I know you can see me, but I can't see all of you guys at the same time. I have to scroll through. I don't know if you've seen how that works on a phone, but it's kind of a pain. But anyways, here I am, and here you are. We're all in different places. You know, first of all, just a disclosure for me before I get started, I am no speaker at all. I mean, I know I'm introduced as the speaker, but I mean, yes, I can speak, of course, but I'm not. It certainly isn't a gift, and it certainly, you know, it's something, honestly, to be quite honest, I don't really prefer to do, but it's one of those things, right? It's one of those things where I know it has to be done so that you know, Second Wind can continue to do what we're doing. You know, we need support, right? So and so it's one of those catch-22s for me. It's one of those things. So anyways, here I am, and I do appreciate the you know, the invitation so much, and I appreciate the willingness for you guys to be here and learn more about Second Wind Cottages. I know that Mark said that there's going to be a question and answer period after. That's more like where I shine. It's a lot easier for me to answer questions than it is for me to present something. I'm not much of a presenter. But,
okay, so then we'll take it from there. That sounds like a good plan. Anybody who wants to propose a question to Carmine, go ahead and unmute yourself from the group mute that Ken did. I'm going to kick it off, if you will, here, Carmine. You've got the men. It seems like right now most of your people are men up at the cottages. In reading your website, I saw some mention of a multi-group type of home situation. Could you tell us more about that for women?
Yes. So yeah. So with that question comes a big answer. And here's where, again, I told you I shine with question and answer because it brings up things in my mind. So our mission statement is to house and walk with people towards a restored life. And initially this was a men's, this is all men here at the cottages, strictly men. They can't have their girlfriends live here. They can't, you know, if they're married, they can't have their wife. It's for single men. That was something that we were advised to do very early on. So that's just the way it is here. But our mission statement says people, because we knew that women needed this too. When I started Second Wind 11 years ago, 95% of the people that were homeless were single men. Okay. That number has changed dramatically now. 11 years later, it's probably like 70% men, 30% women. So there's more of a need for women. So yes, to your question, Mark, yes, we were donated a piece of property in Dryden, New York, right on Main Street, a building lot, and we are going to be building a 4-unit home for women and women with children. So there'll be 2 apartments. It'll be 1 bedroom, 2 apartments will be 2 bedroom. We will have a live-in. house mother, you want to call it whatever the term you want to use, but a mentoring woman that can live right there with the women, help them with their mothering, help them with their parenting, help them with whatever they need help with on a daily, right, moment by moment basis. Be there for them, which is critical. So we're really excited about that. We've been doing some fundraising on that. You might have seen it, heard it. I went on, radio and stuff to try to get, the fundraising kicked off. So we're doing pretty well with that, but we're excited about that. We'll be starting that in the spring. And so guys, just so you know, all the building we do is all volunteer. The community, when we and I sometimes talk too fast and go all over. So you just bear with me. When we started Second Wind, the first day we had a build, we had 125 people from the community show up. 125 people with hammers and nails and screw guns and materials. It was incredible. We put 6 tiny houses up. Now I say tiny houses. Then there was never even heard of a tiny house. The tiny house movement hadn't begun yet, right? I mean, listen, here's the thing. When I started this, I did not want money to be the driving force of someone getting inside. So in other words, I'm a pretty conservative guy, right? The big dollars scare me. So I'm thinking, okay, we got to build something that's economical to build and economical to retain, to maintain. We don't want high energy bills. We don't want high maintenance bills. We want to be able to, we don't want money, because what I found, and I'll shut up here in a minute. What I found was that there's just, money was a big hurdle for people getting safe housing. And so we didn't want that. I didn't want that to be a hurdle. And so, and so we built these little houses, which I designed. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It just, you lay it out and you say, okay, here's the bathroom, here's the kitchen, and here's your living space, and how big does it need to be? And you fit things in, and they're cute. They got a cathedral ceiling. If you've seen, I mean, you saw a couple pictures of the inside, but they're really nice inside. They're all trimmed out nice. They're, painted nice. They've got a high ceiling, and they're, I think they're nice. Not too big so that people become, we don't really want people to become ultra comfortable, right, for too long. We like for people to be able to stay here for as long as they need and then move on. That doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but we don't want to, make it so that it has to be a lifetime thing. So that answers that question, Mark, but I'm sorry, it took me a long time to answer that.
Hey, good answer. It's all there. We'll open it up to somebody else.
I got a question.
Okay.
Yeah, you're making these little houses essentially from scratch, rather than using something that's prefabricated or a trailer that's already completed. How do you compare what you're able to do with prefabs or trailers in cost and quality?
No comparison either way. Cost wise, so each one of these little houses cost $12,000. Now keep in mind, that's all the infrastructure included into that. The building itself, if you're just talking about the sticks, and the paint and all of that, it's I think it's like around 7,000. So you can't get a prefab that's totally finished with all the appliances in it for that. So that's cost effective wise. The other cost effective and
what about the quality, and also compare it to trailers?
No, not even close. And here's where we would lose. I'm going to tell you, Peter. It's Peter, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So Peter, here's the thing. I decided so the volunteer aspect of it was purely an accident. I was scared of big money, so I didn't want to hire contractors to do the job because it's big money. So I said, hey, why don't we see if people will come help us? 125 people showed up the first day, and then it was like, we'd have 70 people on a Saturday. We'd have 50 people on a Wednesday. So the volunteer part, and then what I started to see was the men that were living here, right, coming out and joining in and building with the people from the community. it was a genius, but I didn't know it wasn't my genius. It was just, like I said, it was an accident. That part of what we do here is phenomenally important with the volunteer aspect. So we wouldn't change that, even if someone handed us $1 million and said, go, hire a contractor to build that Dryden house. I wouldn't do it. I would not do it. I would not take away that precious opportunity for both residents and the community to feel that they're a part of something. So yes, I get the question, but yes, there's your answer, Peter.
Thank you.
The quality. Oh yeah, the quality. I oversee everything. I've owned a body shop for 35 years. So the paint's got to be good. So yeah, I'm pretty particular, pretty fussy, that kind of thing. So yeah, the quality is really good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Carmen?
What is your average duration of occupancy?
Who's talking to me now so I can get
Kirk told.
Kurt. Yeah, I got you.
I know there's a broad range, but kind of give us
Yes.
an idea of what the typical occupancy
Yes.
range is.
You mean the stay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. You're right. It's very. We've had some one night, two nights, and they're gone. But that's unusual. That's unusual. Most seem to be longer stays. We've had 2 years have moved on and done well. Some 6 years. It took 6 years to get to the point where they're comfortable with living on their own. Some I think the longest was 8, but a lot of them 2 to 3 years. I guess would be the closest average, I would say that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Carmen, I have a question for you.
Who do I have?
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah. I worked in
JT,
probation.
right?
Yeah, that's
JT.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
I worked in probation, so I know the population that you're dealing with. And
Yep,
one of the downsides can be problem areas or problem individuals who take up all of your energy and all of your time and sometimes all of your resources. And that it can burn out the staff. Is that something that you're dealing with?
Yes.
Okay.
Jim, right?
Yes.
Is it Jim? Yeah, absolutely. You know how it goes, right? We do have a full-time staff person here on site other than myself. I don't really consider myself staff. I'm not employed by Second Wind. I volunteer everything I do here. I volunteer my time, but we do have a full-time community manager who that's what he does. He manages the people. And we've been through a couple of them, Jim. Yeah. And we've been through one executive director already. In fact, I'm acting executive director because we don't have one. We're looking for one. We've got it out there trying to hire one. So yeah, this is a difficult, you know very well, this is a difficult clientele and so I've learned that it's okay to shut my phone off. Turn my phone off. Don't answer my phone. Don't run every time early on, it wasn't like that. Early on, I'd run whatever. I would run. You learn that you can't, otherwise you're going to get burnout and you're not going to be any good. So yeah, I have found that, of course, in this, and it's difficult. And yep.
It's commendable what you're doing, believe me.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, it's.
So this is Ken here.
Ken? Yeah, go ahead.
I got one question about fundraising, because it does cost money to, buy the materials. It costs money to have an executive director. I mean, that's like running a circus sometimes. In any case, how is your fundraising handled? How are you doing there?
So I'll be real honest, guys. We're a small nonprofit, and we struggle with. I think the biggest thing we struggle with is the staffing part. I think that we had a really good executive director for about a year. She was doing a great job fundraising. She was the main, person. But again, this clientele is very difficult. And so we're doing, Ken, here's the thing. I give you this for an idea of what happened. So the Dryden House fundraising thing was started in, I think, early December, and we raised over $60,000 by the end of December, just by, getting it out there on our website, getting out there emails, social media, that kind of thing. So I guess that's how it's done. Honestly, guys, if you're looking for a business plan, I ain't got one. Because I don't know. I mean, people have just given, they know what we're doing. They hear about us. A lot of times, guys, people will call us and say, can we give you money? Because they hear of what we're doing. I really think probably because it's the right thing to do, right? It's a right thing that we're doing. So, it's being, listen, guys, I know that Mark said that, we don't touch on religion or politics, and I won't go either way, but I do believe there's a power greater than us that's at work out there. And I think he's got something to do with it. You know what I mean? I think he does. It's his way. He wants everyone taken care of. And so I'm constantly apologizing to people for not having a great business plan. And this is how we raise our money. And this is how much it just does. It comes in. We can pay our staff and we can continue to build. I'm sorry, I don't have
You're doing something right.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Yeah.
My question, Peter, go ahead.
My simple question is, what's your occupancy rate, and do you have a waiting list if you're fully occupied?
Yeah. So, what do you mean by occupancy rate? What's that mean? How many
are all the cottages filled all the time, or something?
All the time? All the time. We have usually 50 people on a waiting list.
Wow.
Yes. 50 people on a waiting list. So that's a tough one too. How do you, and a good question, Peter, because, okay, maybe the next question would have been, well, how do you choose, right? If you got 50 people on a waiting list, how do you choose? And so I'm part of that team that chooses. We go through the list. Things like, are you a resident, first of all, of Tompkins County? Have you been here, a while, or did you just move from Florida? So if you just moved from Florida, you're probably going to be lower on the list. If you've been here in Tompkins County, you have family here, you have ties here, you're going to go higher on the list. If you have children, you're going to go higher on the list, because if you're trying to get your family back together, or to get a stable place to live, so that you can have your children with you or whatever, then that puts you higher on the list. So there's kind of some matrix that we use to determine those things. Yeah. But yeah, we're always full.
Charlie Smith here. Will the project in Dryden be a single building or multiple small buildings?
No, it'll be a single building, because this is a building lot. It's right on Main Street, right across from the gas station there before you get to the light. So it's a small lot, but there was a pretty big house there. It was a 4-unit house there that burnt. Is what happened. Is that the house burnt? They donated the house to us in the property. Obviously, we were going to actually rehab the house, but it was too far gone, and so it was so much more economical to get rid of it and start from scratch. But yeah, so we have to do the one house deal there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yep.
Carmen, have you run into any resistance as far as the house in Dryden and the location?
No, it's incredible. So we had a meeting out there with the town supervisor. And I mean, they're just open arms. It's really incredible. Yeah, it is great. In fact, the town supervisor was saying, boy, we wish more people would do this. And it's like, wow, that's kind of unusual, because, a lot of people don't want this in their backyard. Kind of, you know how that is, right? Don't want this. And, we run into this here too, right? I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult sometimes for me and on a personal level, because listen, I'm born and raised here in this town, and you get to know people, you get a reputation, whatever. But and then you have something like this happen, and then have one of the guys screw up, right? They get a job at a local place, and they do something wrong, and it's a stain, and that kind of a, it's tough because but I just have to remember that these, a lot of these folks don't come from the background I come from, and I don't know. So we've got a gentleman here in his 40s who, and this is the comparison. I'm a homegrown Newfield boy, high school, that kind of guy, right? And we've got a gentleman here that grew up in the Bronx in New York City. He watched both of his parents get shot over a drug deal when he was 7 years old. His grandmother raised him. At 11 years old, he was running drugs. At 12 years old, he was already shot twice and stabbed 3 times. I've seen the scars. I've seen the medical, documents. At 16, he was incarcerated for a violent crime and spent most of his adult life incarcerated. I don't know what that's like. I don't know how you just, go from one life to the other life that instantly and quickly. And at first I was naive to think that, oh, well, I'll just give them a nice house to live in and they'll be all right. I was naive to think that. It's not. It takes a long time for some people to reacclimate, to be able to live, and I have to continually remind myself of that. I've got to continually remind myself of that. So anyways, sorry for the,
Carmen, what are your expansion plans for Newfield?
So Tom, I'm always looking for property for us to purchase. In fact, there was a piece up the road that came for sale we weren't able to get, but always looking for property. 5-6 acres. We'll do it again. We'll keep going. In fact, we've got another 4 or 5 acres attached to this piece that we could build more on, which we probably will. If we've got the Dryden house to build, and then we've got a large community building here on this site to build that we've been wanting to build for 2 years, but COVID shut that down. And so we've got a few years of building what we've got, but I think we'll be able to build another small community on 4 acres that are here once we get caught up. Yeah, because it never ends. I mean, you could build 4, you could build 40, and it would still, not meet the need.
How are you handling your services to those who are addicted?
So we don't actually have, the counselors here. We connect them to CARS, we connect them to ADC, we connect them to mental health. And sometimes, Tom, it's depending on where the guys are, it's a mandatory thing, right? If they've so what we are here, guys, if our program, or if that's what you want to call it, I don't like the word program, but is we want to be drug and alcohol free. That's what we desire. But we also know that people coming out of addiction, you just can't have it that cut and dry. So if people are trying to come out of their addiction, and part of that trying is, I'll go to CARS, or I'll go to ADC, or I'll go to wherever to be able to stay here, to have a safe place to live. So, yeah.
Would it help to have somebody on site?
It would, I think it'd be great to have somebody on site. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Again, staffing, right? And I think, again, I mean, if we had the right executive director, that person could probably be found, and there'd probably be money for that somewhere, but I'm not that guy to find that, to do that. I'm more of, I've always been just the guy that wants to be with the guys, and just, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
We're coming up on our time. We have time for one more question. Anybody else?
Just let me throw this in there, guys, before if somebody does have a question, that's fine. But his name was Danny Lynch. His name was Danny Lynch, my friend who I found hung in a tree when I came back from Honduras. He has a name. And if it wasn't for Danny Lynch, none of this would be here. It just wouldn't, it would have, Danny Lynch wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't be here. Yep. Yep.
Carmen, can you talk to the types of situations where you've had to have somebody leave?
Yes, sure. It doesn't happen often. Gosh, we use a lot of grace. Okay. Who do I have here? I don't see your name. Bill, right? Bill?
Yeah.
We use a lot of grace in deciding things like that. And so we've always said as a as a staff and a board, Bill, that it'd be so much easier just to copy another agency in town, right? Copy their plan and just have the boxes to check. And then we wouldn't have to make these hard decisions, and we wouldn't have to be torn up. We get torn up inside. This is a personally, this is not my job. This is not my job. This is a personal thing for me. And so I don't want to see people back outdoors. But when it comes to, okay, you got 18 guys, if one person is really disturbing, so many others and making them have a hard time. So where do you cut the losses? So it's those kind of things. So Bill, it takes a lot, I guess. I mean, if you're looking for specifics, any kind of drug dealing is not tolerated. No kind of drug dealing here is tolerated. And I can't even say that about violence, because we've had a few things, that happen and if they've worked out. And so, if you do that, if you make these hard ironclad policies, if you have any violence, you're gone. Then you don't have where's the opportunity to work things out amongst each other? So, and a lot of people aren't going to be in agreement with that. I understand that. Some people, don't agree with that kind of thing. They think it should be hard line and that's it. That's not who we are. And so it's difficult. And I don't know if I answered that question very good, Bill, but
let's everybody give Carmen a hand for a great talk and for coming today. For sure appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Carmen.
Yeah. Okay.